Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Lionsgate Podcast with Sahdi and Omni. I'm Omni.
And this is Sahdi.
And today's episode is going to be all about curses, what they are, how to tell you have one, and how to reverse them. But first, as always, we're going to go over our questions of the week. If you have any questions or stories you'd like to write in about, you can hit us up on our Facebook. You have the Lionsgate podcast page on Facebook, or you can shoot us an email at sahdiandomni@gmail.com. That's SAHDIANDOMNI@gmail.com. All right. First up is Omni. What are some things you recommend for someone to know more about magic if they're getting into it? I would say first you kind of have to identify what you resonate with. So there's whether you resonate as a witch or, get into all the religions. There's Buddhism, there's so many, and there's so many different parts to each thing that you could resonate with a lot of it or none of it or parts of different ones. I know for me, obviously, I resonate with a green witch because of herbs. Also kitchen witchery. I love the ocean. So water magic, elemental magic really interests me. So really I would just look up, and you can Google it for free, different kinds of witches and see what resonates with you, and then look more into that. I also know that, everybody doesn't have money to go spend on books, and I get that. They are more reputable than just Googling once you start getting into it. So I recommend just going online and getting a library card. You usually don't even have to go into your library. It's free. And then get the app Libby. That's Libby. And that app is amazing because everything's free. You might have to go on a waiting list, but you really have so much information at your fingertips. And then if you really get into it and like books, then you can go on Amazon or your local bookstore, obviously. And they have thriftbooks.com, and just really get into what you're specifically into at that point. Because if you just go into reading tons of stuff that you're not really into, it's not going to resonate. And I think you'll fall off from your path quicker that way. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Sahdi? What drew you in?
I agree. So like we said, everybody's different. So you just have to... If you want to get into magic, you just have to think about what it is that really gets your attention. Whether it's alien magic or it's kitchen magic or elemental magic or whatever it is, go with that first. Because I remember when I first started off, I was interested in certain things and it got my attention, and I would read about it and learn everything I could about it. And then that would set me off on a different path to something else that I didn't even know that I was interested in or that I would be good at. And then that road would take me to another one. So it's a journey.
Yeah, I go through that now.
Just start with what it is that you really like to do. If you really like herbs, throw yourself into, learning everything you can about herbs. If you're into aliens, if you're into the magic part of it, spells and rituals and things like that. Right. So yeah, just dive into where you feel the most drawn and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, I would say I know herbs are used in a lot of rituals, but not just herbs. Know your ingredients, because if your spell that you're trying to do calls for, iron, or you got to know what the elemental, what that brings to your spell. You don't just think about building a spell like baking cookies, and sugar and salt look so much alike, but if you put salt in those cookies, it's not going to end up how you wanted it. So just know your ingredients, whether they be herbs or whether they not be. You can use snakeskin, and there's so many different things you can use that represent the intention that you're trying to put into it. So that's my recommendation. All right, on to the next question. Sahdi, if I use sex magic with a partner, do I need their consent since it's my orgasm and my spell? Good question.
Right. That is such a good question. Thank you for writing in, by the way. So last episode, we talked about sex magic, and we really pushed consent 100%, to have consent. But in this particular case, as long as your partner is having sex with you, they're consenting. They're right there. Yeah. They're consenting to have sex with you. So what you do with your orgasm is your business.
That's right, bitch. It's your clitoris.
You know? So you could do the whole, spells and rituals and, spiritual things that you're doing, and then go over to your partner's house, have amazing sex, let them help you get an orgasm, use that for your magic, and then go home if you want to. Like, that's fine.
It works better if they're into it and want to do it, but
But that's working for the same goal. Maybe it's just your booty call.
Exactly.
And they don't care if you get a house or, you get a job promotion or whatever the case.
Sometimes they don't care if you get off, so pick them well.
Well, no.
Get it in, girl.
No. So yes, in that situation, that would be fine. But I think what I was talking about before was like, if your partner's not down to help you manifest what you want to manifest, then don't even include them in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I agree. 100%.
Unless you just want to use them to help you have an orgasm. And in that case, that's fine.
Use them to have orgasm and manifest
because
the
he's
house.
already consenting, or they're already consenting once they say, once you're having sex, that's consent. And what you do with your orgasm is your business.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yes, you can do that.
Amen.
100%.
Get it.
All right.
All right. So we are going to start off with a quote from Curses, Hexes, and Crossings from S. Conley. Because this whole episode's about curses, it is, what is a curse? Cursing is essentially a passive-aggressive way to let out anger, frustration, and metaphysically hurt another person who has hurt you. It can also be a way to let out anger towards a situation rather than an individual. Bad situations and bad habits, like addictions and behaviors, can also be a curse. Mm-hmm. So how does that resonate with you, Sahdi? How do you deal when people come to you and say, hey, I think I'm cursed?
All right. So this is definitely a step process.
I was one of them, by the way.
Right. So sometimes people will think that they're cursed. They'll have a bad couple of days or just one thing after another keeps happening to them, for a few days in a row. And they'll come to me and be like, I think somebody put a curse on me. And the first thing for me to do is sit down and ask them questions like, did you just have a bad day or two? Mm-hmm. Or are you getting a lesson from the universe that you're not paying attention to? Mm-hmm. So your lesson's getting harder and harder because they want you to be aware of something that you're personally doing. Right. And those are your spirit guides trying to, tell you something and you're not listening.
Yeah.
So try to think about that first. Now, usually something like that will work itself out within a few days. But if you notice a pattern, so say that everything's going great in your life, except for your relationship of 5 years or something that's been great and you hardly ever argue. And then all of a sudden there's lack of communication. You're getting mad at him, he's getting mad at you, or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. And this goes on for a week to 10 days. Mm-hmm. Then we need to sit down and be like, okay, maybe this really is a curse.
Right.
You have to follow the patterns within them too. So if it's only happening in one area of your life, that's usually a sign. There's other signs too, like if
for my signs, I was having dreams. So
nightmares, sleep disruptions, stuff like that.
My mom woke me up out of my dream. Mm-hmm. My mom, who's passed away, by the way. So she was like, kept telling me to put protections up. And then I was like, okay. And I'm like casually like buying crystals and stuff. And then I woke up at 2 a.m, straight out of bed. And I heard yelling in my brain, put protections up. And I was like, okay, I hear you.
Mm-hmm. So they can be, you can be told that way also. Or you can even get hostility from other people where it's like, you're just a good person and you don't really get a lot of hostility towards your way. And then even strangers are like starting arguments with you or cutting you off or flipping you off in traffic or, work is chaos and your boss is mean to you and
well, I know the book I was reading, Jason Miller, I'm trying to think. I put it somewhere. Jason Miller, Protection, Reversal Magic. Mm-hmm. He talks about if you have an idea of that somebody's cursing you and you're pretty sure about it. Obviously go to a practitioner or a third party if you're not sure because it's very dangerous. If you are somebody that's practicing anyways, it's dangerous if you think that somebody's cursing you and you send a reversal out and it's actually you just messed up a spell, then it's like putting two mirrors up against each other, towards each other, and it goes on forever. You're cursing yourself twice. Don't be dumb, But he had a really good point that I really liked and resonated with, that if you have a couple names in your head of who it could be.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple enemies, or I don't know, 10. Right? Some people be hating, and you put their names down on a piece of paper, get your pendulum out, and it'll really swing towards the name. That's some confirmation. Or you can do ruins. I'm not very versed in ruin magic, but I think a really good one that Sahdi you would resonate with is pulling cards.
Right.
Like tarot.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a direct line to your spirit guides to be like, yeah, it's definitely them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the whole thing in the beginning is just kind of follow the pattern within the bad luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because if you're cursed, probably not every part of your life is going to be bad. So say you had a friend and she was a really good friend of yours and you're in a great relationship and she's single. Mm-hmm. So even though she might not be putting a curse on you, every time you talk about how great your life is and how happy you are, it hurts her a little bit. And she's sending hate back through you like, this bitch, like she's happy and I'm not, you know. Hexes and curses can be put on you without them actually casting a spell, because it's all about energy.
I remember you telling me that.
Right. So if they're casting like negative energy and then all of a sudden you and your partner end up getting in a huge fight, right? And then
like if your partner's ex like really hates that you guys are together and they just look at your picture every day thinking, God, I hate that bitch because she's beautiful. Thing. Like, yeah, that can be a curse on you.
And that's why it's a good idea to clean out your social media too. If you know that somebody doesn't really like you, but you're still friends, every time you post something, they're going to run by that and they're going to think to themselves, I can't stand that bitch. Or, you know, they're going to think negative thoughts about you or your kids or your family or whatever.
Haters going to hate.
Right. And then that is casting negativity towards you. And then they have an image of you also.
Yeah. Why have I hate that friendly passive aggressive crap. Just cut the cord.
I mean, if you get a bad feeling about somebody and you don't think somebody likes you, just unfriend them.
Yeah. And protect yourself. I mean, we'll go over that, but like, yeah, always protect yourself, because I will go over the story later, but I had to learn that the hard way.
Right. Yeah. She has a story that's it's a little bit embarrassing for Omni to tell it, but I feel like it's really important for her to tell the story because it shows how easy you can have a spell backfire on you.
It's very important for Omni to embarrass herself for you guys.
Right.
It's important.
But anyway, so if you feel like you really do have a spell, there's some simple things that you can do, because most people don't have like this witch that's doing this horrible hexing spell on you. Yeah. It usually comes from people that you know, coworkers, you know, jealous people, haters, whatever.
It's a lot more common than people think.
Right. It's really common.
Yeah.
And we just don't notice it because we're like, oh, that person wouldn't. Yeah, they would.
Because you trust your instincts on it too. You think about hexes like, I don't know, like like a skull and blood and nails, and stuff, which it can be, but that's not. I mean, that's a certain kind of like the lemon hex. You know, you always everybody sees that one, and
But yeah, you can just have somebody sending bad energy your way, and you can pick up on that, and it can start to affect your life.
Yeah,
and so I have a few ideas of little things that you can do if it's just minor. You can take spiritual baths. Even if it's just a little Florida water and some Epsom salt and table salt, throw that into your bath, light some candles, and use that to clear your aura.
Yeah.
And then there's grounding yourself out in the dirt, and you put your feet in the dirt, and you ask the earth to help remove those toxins from your energetic body. Field and stuff like that.
Your chakras.
Exactly. And then there's saging too. You can do sage and incense and things like that. Just to kind of like clear everything out, clear the energy out or whatever. And then I heard that there's also potions that you can drink. So you've taken a bath and you've lit herbs, and then there's things that you can drink that help you to clear that negative energy also. So I'm going to let you take this one because...
I mean, you say potions and everyone's like, what? Potions? Like, potions are basically fancy, beautiful word for like teas. And I love my teas. I went over through my inventory of herbs, and these are some herbs that I have on hand. There's obviously more that you can make into a tea and drink. You can have one of these or all of these or whatever. I mean, be careful with dosage, I guess. But so nettle is a good one. Chamomile, sea salt is always great for cleansing, and you can put a pinch of that in your tea if you want. Don't overdo it because it's gross. Peppermint, lemon, of course, mugwort, hyssop, black cohosh, valerian, thistle, sage, rosemary, mistletoe, and lavender. I put lavender in everything because I feel like it's like the all,
Right.
like it's delicious, and I make lavender syrup. I put it in everything.
It's so good.
Vetiver is really good. It's obviously super bitter. It's so bitter. So is mugwort. So just add as much sugar as you want, because
Or honey.
yeah, or honey or whatever, or put your finger in there if you're a sweet soul. But yeah, so any of those or all of those or some of those, whatever. These are a lot more common herbs than you think they are. I mean, chamomile you can get at your grocery store, and lavender and rosemary grows everywhere in Oregon. So go grab some clippings and put it in some water. It's delicious, and it's great for your memory. It's really good, for a lot of things. So rosemary is
Weren't you telling me about Love Potion number 9 or something?
Oh,
like
yeah.
that?
So Love Potion, I was reading something the other day, and I found out that Love Potion number 9, it was 9 herbs. Oh, I have it written down somewhere. But it was 9 herbs that it was called Love Potion number 9 because it was 9 herbs that you drank for 9 days, and you steep them for 9 minutes. And it was supposed to be a love potion. And that's why it was called Love Potion number 9. Not because it was like the 9th love potion of like, you know what I mean? Like that movie with Sandra Bullock.
That was like a cool little story.
That is super cool. And I have actually, you know what? Hit us up on our TikTok. And I will post that. I'll post the herbs because I wrote them down because I thought it was so cool. I mean, I got a partner, so I don't need it. But I mean, we'll do an episode on Love Potion and stuff. And actually, fun fact, if you are sending somebody healing or trying to do a love potion against somebody's anything that affects somebody's free will is actually technically called a curse.
That is true.
And so if you send out a love spell on somebody that does not have love for you and it works, you're literally cursing them. So just to keep that in mind.
Or you're interfering with their path.
Exactly, like
so,
healing.
Yeah, so you try to do a healing spell for somebody without them asking. So say, I'm sick, I'm going through something. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to help Sahdi. And so you do this spell for me, and then I get better, but I haven't learned the lesson within that sickness. And so, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It was like, I'll pray for you. Like,
oh my God.
When people say that, don't, because maybe this is happening to me for a reason, so I can learn something from it. And then if you did that spell, you could be interrupting my path, interrupting my lesson. And then, okay, I get better, and then I have to get sick again because I didn't learn my lesson. So you just prolonged my agony by trying to help me.
Yeah.
So that can happen too with good intention and goodwill, and you're doing that because you love me and you're my friend. Right. And then you end up making it worse for me.
But you're a stupid friend. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, don't do anything to anybody unless, I would recommend not doing that.
And
unless they ask you to, and you're like, hey, like, I'm not feeling good and I really need help with this. Can you do a spell for me or pray for me or do a ritual for me or something to help me? And then, yeah, that's fine to do that. Yeah,
because if you're staying connected with your spirit guides and doing the things you're supposed to be doing spiritually, your spirit guides are going to tell you no. Or yes, you're going to get that gut feeling. Everybody has very good intuition if you open yourself up to it. So just pay attention to that because, that's important.
So do we have anything else more to add on knowing whether or not you have
I mean, a
curse or a hex? Because that's the first thing is just figuring out if you really are hexed or cursed with something.
Well, I know you were saying that you had, Bruce. So Bruce, we talk about Bruce because he's lovely and we love him and everybody should be Bruce's friend.
I talk about Bruce stories almost every episode.
Okay, you got to share this story.
Okay, but I do have a story about Bruce. So Bruce recently moved to a new state, and him and his wife are retired, and they worked really hard their whole life, and they were so proud of this property that they got, and they were building their own home, and they ended up living close by to his sister-in-law. Okay, and they've just been family for years and years and years. She was married to his cousin, and so he recently found out that she never liked him, and she'd hated him and his wife the entire time. And since they moved there, that hate grew because they were going over there for dinner and they were hanging out with her and they were like with her more and more. And she just built this like resentment up. And finally she just exploded and she was like, I hate you. I don't like you. I don't like your wife.
She wasn't like blood related, right? She was an in-law?
She's an in-law.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I was making sure I remembered that right.
But that's family. Like he looked at her like as, 100% family. And it really hurt his feelings because he was, she doesn't have a lot of money, I guess. And she's had a hard life. So sometimes people, when they're hurt, they look at other people that are doing well for themselves and they're so jealous and they've got so much hate that they just hate the person. Right.
Right.
But it happens.
Yeah.
Right? So he hit me up and he's like, hey, like, everything just seems to be going wrong. One thing after another. And her mother practices witchcraft. And she's into a lot of those things as well. And so he's like, I think she might have cursed me. So of course I send them, a spiritual bath and I'm like, we can do these things and let's make sure it's really a curse, not you just moved to a new place or things are just not working out. And so recently, and the spell did work because I realized that he did have a curse on him and he's moving from that area. They've been out there about a year.
That's so sad.
And yeah, he's selling that property and they're already getting a house somewhere far away. So whatever it is that she did, she had some power behind it because it actually worked. But he called me recently and said that, strangers were even being rude to them, like starting arguments with them.
And he's the sweetest guy, right?
Right. He's the sweetest person
he's so sweet.
Ever. Right. And so I was like, okay, well, that is a sign that you could be cursed. And so he let me know that he had this dream that she was on top of him, choking him. And instantly I was like, oh, I'm like, no, she's not a dream walker. She's not in your dream doing that. She put a choking curse on you.
Yep.
And I'm like, when you were at her house, did you wipe your mouth with a napkin? And he's like, yeah, all the time. Like I ate over there. And she could have got it off my cup, my fork, anything. I'm like, yeah, she stole your DNA. That's what she fucking, right. And I'm like, everything clicked and I felt bad because I should have, me being me, hindsight or whatever.
Because he's sweet, but
Right. But she had a lot of, hostility and hate for him for some reason. So now I'm involved in this.
Haters gonna hate.
And I don't do a lot of spells on behalf of other people. Usually I keep my spells pretty private for the most part. But I'm going to help Bruce.
Yeah. He deserves to be helped.
He really does
I'm all
deserve
about,
to be
the
helped.
Sweet people in the world. Yeah.
And we're going to kind of see how she likes it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We're definitely doing a reversal spell on her. And so she's,
gonna get a taste of her own medicine.
She is, yeah.
Good. She deserves that. That's ridiculous.
So
you're just jealous.
Right. So that leads into the next part of like, you are 100% sure now that you have a spell, you've gone through something like Bruce or, it's very obvious and clear that you need more help than just a spiritual bath.
Right. Yeah. Because, when you reverse a spell, you're very sure about it. That's important. But you also, like, if you're reversing a spell on another practitioner or not even a practitioner, somebody that has like strong spirit guides or whatever protections, it's really important to protect yourself. And this feeds into my story, so I'm going to share this, and it's embarrassing.
That's right. So learn from her mistakes.
Yes, to learn from my mistakes, because we're going to be open and honest with everybody, because whatever. It's embarrassing for me, but I learned a lesson. And so maybe you don't have to learn the same lesson. Right. So I had somebody that was cursing and hexing me on the regular. And there was confirmation from another person. And it was very obvious. They hated me for no reason. I say no reason. Like, it's not like it's hard to explain, but
it was another jealousy kind of situation.
It was another jealousy situation. And so they were constantly hexing and cursing me, and that's actually the person that was doing it that made me reach out to Sahdi to be like, hey, my mom,
and we did a spiritual bath and we did all that stuff, and we tried to do it the right way, and didn't you even send the curse back to her with love?
Yeah, with love. Okay, so Sahdi was like, well, especially because they are practicing, especially because they're practicing, we don't know what kind of protections they have. Let's send healing and love. So maybe their jealousy will heal. And I think that's amazing. And at the time I was like, hell yeah. I don't want to send a hex. I don't want to curse them. So we did do that, and we were hoping for it to get better, and it did. And actually, we went to go break the jar for the curse breaking, and because Sahdi has this amazing bath ritual that she does, and as soon as it broke, I was like vibrating, and it was very obvious that it worked. Like, you could feel the energy come back to me. I felt amazing, but a couple weeks later it started to taper back down, because if they're consistently doing it, then you have to renew it. So now I just do spiritual baths like every month at least. I do.
That's a good
Epsom salt
idea
bath.
for anybody anyway.
Yeah, just make it a common ritual, a common practice. But so anyways, I just finally got really fed up with her and was like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this.
And I didn't know that you were doing this.
I did not tell Sahdi.
You did not tell me.
I did not tell Sahdi because I knew she was going to tell me not to do it. Like a little child not wanting to tell their parents something. I think I was just like, I'm so fed up with it. And I did a hexing jar, and I was like, fuck this bitch. And I threw that shit in the ocean because I was serious about it. And it was potent, because I learned really quick that shit flew right back in my face. And literally the next night I was leaving work, and there's like one pothole in the whole freaking parking lot.
It's a big parking lot.
It's a big ass parking lot. One pothole. And I was texting a friend back, and I literally fell into this pothole. And, okay, I was wearing yoga pants and then jeans over those yoga pants, and I twisted both my ankles instantaneously, and I busted both my knees so hard that one of my knees split open. I have a scar from it now, so thank you for the lesson. That is a constant reminder on my knee. Right. And I just crawled to my car, into my car, and cried because I was like, this is awful. And I instantly knew. It's like I got a message from my spirit guides that were like, see, you knew you shouldn't have done that. And it's not that I shouldn't have hexed her back. It's I should have took precautions and protected myself. And honestly, that was a lack of knowledge, and that was a lot of motivation for me to learn a lot more. It's why I've invested so much into books and learning and that thirst for knowledge, is because of my experience. So hopefully.
And a lot of people are like that. Like, they get mad at somebody in their everything, TikTok, social media. God, I see everybody is posting, hex and curse and do this to somebody. But they don't have the knowledge and wisdom behind them to do it. And so when they're casting these spells out of anger, it can pop back up on you, you just found out, or it can, hit your kids or your family members or your animals or your car. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I put this curse on somebody, put this spell on somebody. The next day, all of your tires get popped, your car gets broken into.
I remember that's what you told me. Why we were sending healing, damn it. Because if it pops
like
back,
a dog bites you, it's just it will come back. And then if you don't have the knowledge and wisdom to realize it like you did, you might not even have put the 2 and 2 together.
You're just like, my life sucks.
Oh yeah, I just walked into a pothole, or whatever. I fell into a pothole and this happened to me, and you're not even connecting it that it's because of what you just did to somebody else.
And I knew it instantly.
So I want to. So that gets us on the subject of, I want to talk about like how to kind of protect yourself and what to do while you're doing a reversal. So you've already tried everything else. You've tried to be nice about it. And it just, you're 100% sure that you do have a hex or a curse on you. You're pretty sure you know who did it. Even if you don't know who did it, there's other ways around that also. But usually you have a feeling. Nobody that you don't know, that you've never seen before, is just going to come unless somebody paid this person to do it. And that's rare.
That is rare.
And then even in that case, you're like, who do I know that hates me enough to go pay a witch doctor or a witch to perform this against me? So, in general, there are, of course,
and you don't need to know who it is either necessarily.
Usually your gut will tell you.
You have you could use the make a list of people and use your pendulum that the Jason Miller book.
Right. Or ask your spirit guides or
if you're not confident enough in it, get a third party
for 10 minutes on the name, and if you get a sick feeling or you get a message, that's probably who it is. But sometimes it doesn't even matter who it is, because there's a lot of reversals that you can do. You can just return it to the sender, and the universe knows who fucking did it. You know what I mean? So you don't have to have a name.
Try the universe will teach you real quick. When you
what
do
I like
stupid.
to do is and get my room as smoky as possible with incense and sage and things like that, and resins and amber. I like to use amber a lot when I'm doing reversals. And so get it as smoky as possible, open a window, turn on a fan, and then just repeat over and over, return to sender. Anything that doesn't belong to me, any negative energy that's been put on me, any evil eye that's been put on me, I return it to the sender. And I'll just say that over and over again until the smoke is completely out of the room. And it almost kind of puts you in a trance-like state when you repeat the same thing over and over. And every time you say it, it has more and more and more power. And I like the smoke because you can watch it like go out of the window, and then it's kind of like you can imagine that it's just being sent to where it's supposed to go.
That's actually why I mean you watch like these TV tropes, and people like how these witches on TV do rhyming spells. The reason for that is not because they have to rhyme. Spells do not have to rhyme. But part of rhyming a spell, and I actually like rhyming spells because I feel like it makes me reach deep into myself and have really true meaning to it and think about it
like
a lot.
Poetry and stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
And because it helps you with the mantra part of it, of like really going into it and getting into that. It's kind of like a meditation trance where that beat gets into you, and that's what it helps with. It doesn't have to rhyme, but it does help with that beat, you know, like.
And that's another thing, using music.
Yes.
So I use music. Oh my God, music is life. But I use it in any kind of ritual or spell or casting that I'm doing. I pick music that suits. I
always do the singing.
So if I'm doing money spells or whatever, I have like a whole playlist of money related songs.
Cardi B? No.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so when I'm doing my money spells, my music is all the way up.
Yes.
And I like get myself in the right headspace to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Twerk. No.
Or love spells. You get some seductive music.
Yes.
And like music that makes you, you know,
I have a playlist called Sexy Town.
So like, you know. So I have different playlists for different things, but even like reversals and stuff like that. You could do like drum beats or you know, any kind of music that just makes you feel like, like fuck you. You could listen to some heavy metal. Like
when I went through my divorce, I got a whole playlist of women empowerment music, and that was so potent and strong for me. Even to this day, every time I go to work, I swear to God, I listen to Seven Rings by Ariana Grande. And I'm not a huge Ariana Grande song like fan or whatever, but for some reason that song puts me in a boss ass bitch mood. You know what I mean? Like I go in there, I'm gonna make my money, and that gets me in my headspace. So like, yeah, absolutely. Music is amazing. I listen to singing bowls a lot, but that's more so for me when I'm healing or when I'm trying to meditate. If I'm doing reversal spells, dude, I would probably.
Yeah, I was doing a reversal spell last night. I was listening to Ichi. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Yeah, you should Google that.
I'm gonna put it on my list.
Right.
I have a list.
Right. So yeah, and it just makes whatever makes you feel more powerful, because it's about energy. So music is attached. Vibration is attached to that.
Yeah.
In the way that you feel. So.
I mean, I don't know why this is popping in my head, but dragon's blood adds potency to any spell. So
that's actually in my. I'm gonna give you guys a little not spell, but direct or ingredients to the reversal oil that I use.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that later.
Yeah, we'll put it. We'll put it at the end, but we'll also put it on our TikTok. So Sahdi Omni, look it up. Follow us, and any kind of book reference we put in our episodes, or any kind of spells or ingredients. I know a lot of people are driving when they're listening to us, and this is kind of feedback that we've gotten, and they don't have a pen or a pencil to write it down. We will put it on our TikTok so you guys don't have to worry about that. Exactly. You know, like we'll do that for you because we love you.
For sure.
Friends.
So first thing I would say to do when you're going to do a reversal spell is cut the energetic cords. So energy cords are invisible strands of energy that connect us to people, right? And so if you're connected to a person and they do a spell on you, and then you try to do a reversal without getting rid of that cord, it could come back on you again. Yeah. Then you're in this never-ending, game of
back and forth. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I never even thought about. So I've done cord cuttings for like toxic exes or like family members, but I didn't think about doing it on like a reversal.
Right.
But like
And it's so funny. People are so afraid of cord cutting.
Yeah.
Right. They're just like, oh, what if I get back together with my ex? Right. I don't want to cut this friend out forever.
They think
for some reason when you cut a cord is just like a weed that's growing in the grass. If you cut it, it's going to grow back. Yeah. It's okay. Like, and you can even, if you want to get deeper into that, like a toxic ex, you can do cord pulling, which is a little more invasive. But even then, if you decided to connect with them, you can plant different seeds and grow different energetic connections to this person.
Well, think about gardening. You cut like a tomato plant, you prune plants.
Right.
And for those of you that know about gardening, you prune plants so they grow up back stronger. So like if you're cutting a cord to somebody that
it's toxic.
Yeah.
Say, even us, what if we got into like a big argument and we've got all these
beautiful,
me too, but we had all these like beautiful cords that we've been nurturing back and forth, and something happened between us. Okay, well, those cords are now, some of them are toxic.
Yeah.
So it would be a good idea for us to cut those cords and then come back together and like, let's regrow those stronger and better than before. So cord cutting is actually really good.
It's beautiful.
And I'm the type of person that's like, I don't even care if you're my kid. Yep. If I created you and gave birth to you, I will cut the cords with you.
I have a portal I brought you through.
Well, my kids are older too. They're all grown up. So I'm not saying do that with your 3-year-old.
Yeah. They need you.
Yeah. Don't cut the
feed
cord.
them.
But yeah, when they start getting into teenage years and they start being toxic with you, and if most kids are good, but they have their hormones
human,
and everything like
kids
that.
Kids are human,
and you don't need to carry around that guilt and all that stress that they're putting on you. So I would cut the cords, cleanse them. You don't even need to. There's a bunch of different websites out there. You can look it up.
Maybe we should do like a TikTok of a cord cutting.
We should.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I feel like TikTok is covered in like cord cuttings for relationships.
But you can use like candles.
We could do
you can use like a sharp instrument that you have. I have an obsidian that I use. It's an obsidian blade. And then I can also do it like inside baths. You can just imagine the cords being gently pulled from you. It doesn't have to be like this
the
vicious,
toxic
like
ones.
We're cutting these off.
Yeah.
And,
leave the loving memories there. Pull out all the bad memories so you're not holding on to that resentment, because that's so... It's so
we can do
toxic.
like a little one about that on TikTok.
Yeah. Just for the visual.
But if you don't know, just Google it.
Yeah.
And whatever comes up, you can read about it, or you can probably watch some like YouTube videos that go
absolutely.
step by step. So that would be the first thing that I would say before you start your reversal spell, is just protect yourself and cut those cords.
Yeah, it's important to do that, because it's not just that, but like, you were saying if 2 people are after you... Yeah, this was I never even thought I was so excited about you sharing this.
So you can reverse the spell back to somebody that's cursed you or whatever.
Yeah.
But what if you're in the workplace and there's like these people, a group of people or like a couple people that you just know they have it out for you. They don't like you. It's obvious, and they're always causing drama and starting problems for you. You don't even have to do a reversal on them. You could bind them together and kind of like throw them in the same bath and like watch. And then you could just sit back because they're no longer focused on you. Yeah. They're focused on each other now.
Catfight.
And you just turn everybody against each other and you kind of sit back and just enjoy your life.
Yeah. Drink your tea.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the tea.
Right. But yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do.
I know you were talking about, I might be skipping ahead, but the reversal oil earlier, and because I didn't even think about that, and that's what I love. I love, like, we go back and forth, and I'll be like, I didn't even think about that, and then I'll come up with an idea, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess you can do that. And I think that's important. One of the things we're doing with this is building a community, and a community is amazing because you get support, and you also get ideas from each other. Hopefully good ones. I mean, if you get bad ones, you're going to learn your lesson either which way, like me.
So I feel like we should like finish up on like what we were talking about, like with the
ADHD brain.
What reversal actually is. So you cut the cords.
Yes.
And then there are things that you can do.
Yeah.
Right. There's a couple of different ways. You can use fire.
Yes.
To get rid of it. So say that you have a breakup with somebody and you feel like they've been just putting really negative energy on you. They've cursed you in some way.
Yeah.
You can take the things that belong to them make a big bonfire and speak what you want into existence. You can even write a petition, some kind of letter, and burn everything that they gave you.
Dude,
you know, that's very
like,
cleansing.
People do
in
that
itself.
anyways.
Right.
We didn't even
and
know
while
it's
you're
a ritual.
doing it, say anything that you've done to me. You know, I hope you feel it. I hope it comes back to you.
Yeah.
Times two, or like however you want to say it. Make it rhyme if you want to. Make it into poetry. Put your heart and soul into it.
Don't key their car, girl.
No.
I mean,
let their karma get them. But if you feel like they are cursing you,
mm-hmm.
you know, that's okay to give that energy back to them.
Yeah.
Because you're already trying to heal from a broken heart.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with the extra drama that they're putting on you. Like,
mm-hmm.
I hope she, you know, isn't happy, and I hope,
yeah,
whatever they.
I hope you have erectile dysfunction. No,
doing a fire ritual is very cleansing, and it's really good for reversals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about the smoke in the room, where you just speak, "I return to sender."
Yeah.
And you can also, if you don't want to return it to the sender, you can release it to the universe to be healed.
Yeah, and I mean,
instead
that's
of it going
great.
back to the person, because the universe can handle it.
Yeah,
you know?
For them to heal, because a lot of times they're just hurt themselves. And if you can find it in your heart to do that, yes. Otherwise, burn their shit.
And then there's, and there's ways that you can,
trouble.
like bodies of water too, are really good ways to cleanse yourself, like oceans and rivers and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you can, figure out some kind of reversal spell to do by a body of water and place that within the water.
Yeah. And then the rain will carry it on.
Yep.
Rain on his parade or her parade or whatever. We're all genders. Right. we're just two women identifying people, so don't get it twisted. Women are fuck girls too.
So do you want me to talk about the oil now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just really excited about it.
Okay. I got you.
Talk about the oil.
It's really super simple. There's a longer way to do it, and then there's kind of a shortcut, and I'll give you both ways.
Yeah.
So you get a piece of dragon's blood, and then a cinnamon stick, a couple cloves, some black pepper, rue or eucalyptus. Rue is spelled R-U-E.
Yes.
Or eucalyptus, or you could use both. But they're interchangeable with this oil.
Don't eat them.
And then you're going to need some olive oil. And so you put everything in all the dry herbs in the jar first, and you pour the olive oil on top of that, put a lid on it, and you put it in a dark place. And every day you shake it once. You just shake it up a couple times once a day, and then put it back. And that generally will be really potent after about 2 weeks. Would be probably the best. And if you don't have 2 weeks to do a reversal spell, because you're like, I can't go through this shit for fucking 2 weeks.
Right.
Like I need this spell right now. You can put the olive oil and all the ingredients in a pan. Don't boil it.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit patient with it. Put it on simmer and do that for 20, 30 minutes. Simmer it really low, and then strain it and put it into the bottle.
And then do you put it on yourself? Do you what do you do with it after that?
You can pretty much put it on anything that you're using. Yeah. I use a lot of candles when I do reversal spells. So you can anoint your candles with them. You can carve their name into the candle, or you carve things into the candle works, and then you put the reversal spell on that.
Yeah, put their okay, so I have a candle reversal that is pretty easy that I would do is so you can use. So we live not too far from the ocean. I mean, kind of far, but not far. Right. And so, whenever I go, you always see the crab shells, and I collect those, and you can grind those into a powder. And the reason why or you can, I don't know, go to Red Lobster and get some crabs.
Go to the grocery store.
Yeah, you can go to the grocery store. Yeah,
but Red Lobster does sound good.
Red Lobster, they're everywhere. Right. So you go there, you be a weirdo and put them in the to-go box. But anyways, you grind it up into a powder. And you can use that, and that's used in reversals a lot because crabs walk backwards. So makes logical sense. Yeah, and you can dress the candle in that, and then you carve the person's name into the candle, or you can just say return to sender.
So when you say dress the candle, for people that don't know.
Oh, yeah. So you can dress the candle in, meaning you roll you can roll the crab powder in the candle, or you can just ground it. And grounding means you put it on the plate that you're burning the candle on. And then you turn the candle upside down. Now, what's perfect about Sahdi's oil is that you can put the oil on the outside of the candle. And that's called dressing a candle. So you dress a candle in oils or with herbs or whatever. And then you turn it upside down. I think one of the books that I read said you bite the candle bottom off, but that is not necessary. You could just cut it and you burn the wick on the bottom half.
Yeah, but if you're biting it, then you're putting your DNA into
Yes.
it. I don't know. I would bite it. If the spell says
it's not necessary, but exactly. If you want to put your DNA into it,
or just
that
use
makes
your
everything
nails
more
and
powerful.
dig your nails into it.
Yeah,
And pull it off.
Be aggressive. Because
with it.
the more aggressive your intention is, the more aggressive the spell is. And then you burn that all the way down. And fun fact, I recommend never blowing a candle out with your mouth because that blows all the. It blows a lot. It blows. It just blows. Don't do that. Always snuff it out.
They say it's disrespectful to the spirits.
Exactly.
Too.
It's disrespectful to the spirits. It blows all the good mojo out. It kind of blows some of the potency of the spell.
Use your fingers if you can.
If you're a badass. If you're not a badass, just get a plate or something and put it on there. But yeah, so very easy. Very easy.
So you could probably use my oil.
Yes.
And dress the candle.
Yes.
And then you put the
I would recommend a black
powder.
candle, but you can use a white candle as well.
I would always recommend usually a black candle when I'm doing reversals.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
If you're sending healing, a white candle. But if you want to
but I mean,
fuck
in
them
a
up,
reversal,
do black. Do black. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can use,
or maybe red.
I don't know. I do candles, and I have white candles coated in black and herbs. So maybe I'll make some up that.
So after you do that, and then you bite the bottom of the candle off, so you can use that wick, and then you put the candle upside down.
Exactly.
And then what do you do while the candle is burning?
You concentrate on the intention of sending it back to sender.
Okay.
And then I would recommend burning the candle all the way down, but obviously if that takes a long time. So if you don't have all that time, and this goes with any kind of spell you're doing that's using a candle, if you don't have time to finish the spell when it burns all the way down, because I like to use one candle for each spell. I think it makes it way more stronger. I snuff it out and then continue when I have time. We're busy people, and I get that. And like a lot of us have kids or a life or whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to finish it all in one sitting. You can wait, and the spell will start to work. And then when it burns all the way down, it's, that's when it's finished.
Right.
And like, I know this doesn't have to do with cursing, but Sahdi was saying that she was using a candle last night, and it really transformed when it was burned all the way down into the spell that she was putting intention into, and that I thought it was really beautiful. So maybe
that was your candle that you made.
Yeah. And so maybe if you do sit it down,
and they're beautiful for spells.
I love you. I love you. But yeah, and then we already talked about smoke reversal, dance around the fire. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. I mean, we have if we have anything else to share on this, we'll either do another episode or we'll share some TikToks just so that we have more information for you guys. But I think that wraps up this episode. Join us for next time while we talk about our past, our path, and our present. And until then, keep your minds open.
Namaste.